Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. First off, I just want to start out. I'm sorry that I haven't been on in a few days. I've just been dealing with a lot with work and stuff like that. Also, my internet service was out. I had to get that worked on. But I'm back, so I'm dropping this video. And believe me, I mean, the past few days has been a whirlwind of things that are going on. And I'm sure a lot of yous have heard, if not all of yous, I'm almost certain. But, I mean, from what's going on with Kamala Harris and Biden, what happened at the Olympics, okay, there's some other things that I came across that are happening in California. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And it is, like, really overwhelming. And believe me, if I can do this every day, I mean, I could drop 3 or 4 videos a day. I would love to. Okay, I don't think there's I don't think there's too much information that can come out, because it just keeps changing, and the powers that be, people on the left and stuff like that, they keep trying to flip the script. I mean, every day it's like they got their early morning script, their afternoon script, their evening script, and then their late night script, and it just flips and flips and flips. Okay, and it's just horrible. It's horrible and it's disgusting. But we'll get to some other things on that. But before I continue, I just want to thank all my new subscribers and all my subscribers here on YouTube and on Rumble. So don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store. And also, as I've said in a couple of other my videos, in the description I'm leaving a link from my friend Josie and a link for Loza Alexander. If you guys can help them and donate to their Josie has a GoFundMe, yes, GoFundMe, and I believe Loza Alexander has a Give Send Go. They're trying to raise money. They're both dealing with health issues, and you know, it can really take a toll on people. It really can financially. And if you can say prayers for them, maybe go onto their channels where they're trying to raise money, and leave them prayers, or put their names in your prayer books and keep them in your prayers. There's no such thing as too many prayers. But with all that being said, I just want to thank everybody once again. So I'm gonna play this clip, and we're gonna jump into right where what's going on in the Olympics, what had happened with the opening ceremony. Now, a few days ago, from what I've seen and what I heard, it seems that when this whole debacle came about, that all of a sudden they wanted to backtrack and take down the footage. By then it was too late. Okay, then they try to go after content creators and people like that, giving them strikes, saying that the content that they were playing is copyrighted, protected, and all that. I don't know how true that is. In my opinion, in all honesty, I'm calling BS on it. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because when the Olympics are going to be set somewhere for them to happen, there is a vote that goes on, okay, amongst countries and stuff like that, to come out and say, okay, you know what, these are the places that we have in mind where we would like to host the Olympics. Okay, so every country puts their bid in. They have to show where they can find a spot in their country where they can build Olympic City, okay, and see how much it would cost. Okay, they have to come out with all kinds of planning, all kinds of costs, a time frame to make sure that everything's going to be built, all the accommodations. That's for the athletes, for civilians, people visiting from abroad, people from the country, security. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and it costs a lot of money. Okay, tons and tons of money. So Paris had won the bid, okay, and they knew that, okay, we're gonna have to put on a big spectacle, because we're bringing people from all around the world. And that's what I mean. They knew that they were going to cater to different countries, people with different religious beliefs, okay, different ideas, different genders, different sexual orientations, and so on and so forth. They knew this. Okay? They knew this very well. But instead of them saying, you know what, we are going to put something together that is going to honor athletes. First and foremost, athletes. The best of the best around the world, men and women. Okay? They knew that they cannot bring in transgender people, and if I'm wrong, correct me someone in the comments, but I believe not too long ago that the Olympics voted and said that they were not going to let men compete in women's sports under the guise that they're trans, and that, you know, one day you're a man, and then when you get your ass handed to you, you know, by other men, you decide, let me go play for the women's team, and let me, you know, go beat up on them. So, if, like I said, I believe I'm right on that. Okay? And if I'm right on that, then why in the world would whoever was in charge of the Olympics think that it was okay to put on full display, okay, a religious mockery of Christianity? I'll tell you why. Because for as much as they're trying to paint and put lipstick on this pig, and I know some of you are probably thinking, some of the people you've seen in the Olympics portraying, you know, that art look like a bunch of pigs with lipstick. Okay, where did they get off thinking that nobody was going to notice, or at least I noticed that? To me, this was a dig at trans people not being able to compete in the Olympics. So, being that they also know, and they always blame Christianity about being homophobic, yet the Muslim religion is homophobic, but they won't say nothing about that. And I'll take that back. I'm not even going to use the word homophobic, because it's not about Christians being homophobic or Muslims being homophobic or Buddhist or whatever. It's about a belief that we believe that God made a man and a woman. Okay? But the powers that be and this whole trans movement thinks that it's okay to just keep attacking Christians, because they think that Christians are the ones that are the worst. They won't go and attack Muslims. They won't go and portray Muhammad and his people and do anything like this in drag. Oh no, they won't do that. They won't go and try to portray like Buddhist monks in drag. They won't do that. Excuse me. Oh, they won't. They just keep going and they keep digging at Christians. And not only, like I said, are they digging at Christians, I haven't found the video. I'm going to try to find it if I can make another video on this, is that they decided to put in their art the Statue of Liberty, like all beat up, like if it was beat up, shot at, stuff like that. One news reporter said, well, not a news reporter, one commentator said that he thought that by looking at it closely that there was supposedly a bullet wound in between Lady Liberty's eyes. I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if that's true or not. But it makes me wonder, okay, did whoever was in charge that did this, did they do it because they think that Liberty is dying and they feel for America? Or is it a dig at America for all the things that are going on against the trans community who keep bitching, moaning, and crying? So it was a dig at America saying your liberty's dead because you're not letting, you know, trans people be the way they want to be. So because, you know, you're being run by right-wing Christian extremists. So what we're going to do is, since this is, you know, art, and this is Paris, and it's all about art and culture, we're going to throw a dig at America and Christianity. Just the way I see it. Okay? Now I'm going to try to put everything together real quick. I don't want this video to go too long because there's a few things I want to show you, but we're going to play Cinema Shogun here. He's got a few things to show you, and I'm going to throw my thoughts into it. Okay. Now, if anybody was wondering who was that blue figure during that that horrible display, in my opinion, he's going to explain, and I'll put my thoughts into it. Here we go.
Well, folks, now we know who the creepy little naked Papa Smurf was at the opening ceremony of the Olympics. It was actually the Greek god Dionysus. And this is not speculation. This is not a conspiracy theory. This was confirmed directly by the Olympics. Now, the Olympics put this information out there, hoping that it would...
Now, I'm going to cut it off real quick. There's going to be a lot. I'm going to put a lot of my thoughts into this. This is what they put out. The interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings. Keep that in mind, people. Okay, keep that in mind. Here we go.
Would help to throw some water on the flames, because right now they're receiving a lot of backlash from Christians, because the opening ceremony was basically nothing more than just, a bunch of drag queens mocking Christians.
Okay, I'm going to stop it again. Excuse me. I'm going to go back just a little bit, just so you guys can see. This little person right here, that was a child. That is a child. Okay? That they decided to throw into the mix, okay, of grown-ass men, okay, dressed and acting provocative. If anybody says, well, what do you mean acting provocative? Just this act alone of this drag show, okay, trying to recreate the Last Supper is provocative. But let's continue.
Opening ceremony was basically nothing more than just, a bunch of drag queens mocking Christians. And they think that including a Greek god would distract people. They think that they could use this as an excuse, and they're banking on people not understanding who Dionysus actually is. But if you understand who he is, you understand how this makes the situation way more creepy, way more worse.
Yep.
And by using this god in particular, they used him for a reason to further mock Christians. Now, how many of you all know who Dionysus is? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, I'm not here to pretend like I'm an expert on this matter, but I do have some basic level information on this Dionysus guy, and boy, oh boy, is it really creepy. Let's go ahead and dive in.
Now, I'm going to stop it before he reads it out. I'm going to read it myself, okay, real quick. It says, in ancient Greek religion and myth, Dionysus is the god of winemaking. Excuse me. And you need to look at all this, the way they put this together, okay? Because anybody that knows me, and I'm not saying Cinema Shogun's doing a bad take on it, not at all. You're gonna listen to him. Like I said, I'm not gonna play the whole thing. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can go on his channel, show him some love, join his channel. Okay, he dives in deep. But I like I said, anybody that knows me, I go way out. Way out the box. Okay, because you really gotta dig deep. Okay, you almost have to start thinking like them. And I hate using that phrase, that analogy, but you got to be able to see it from the way they're seeing it. Okay, this is not a one-off. These things are not put together by some freaking dude who's an artist and said, well, let me put this together because I just think this makes sense. No, they know how to, in other words, they're doing a one-for-one. Okay, now everybody knows about when Jesus was at the wedding and turned the water into wine. So they go and get a Greek god Dionysus, okay, is the god of winemaking. Orchards of the fruit, vegetation, fertility. It's almost like they're trying to describe Jesus. Jesus is all about love, producing crops, producing human beings, all that, right? But then check this out. He is the god of festivity, insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. He was also known as Bacchus by the Greeks for a name later adopted by the Romans, for a frenzy he is said to induce, called Bacchia. As Dionysus Eleutherius, I guess, the liberator, mind you, in other words, free you, okay, free you from Christ. I guess that's what they're trying to say. So they knew the Greek god that they were going to use to put this bullshit together. Okay? They knew. His wine, music, and ecstatic dance free his followers from self-conscious. You know the old saying, let your conscience be your guide. Fear and care. And subvert the oppressive restraints of the powerful. You going along with me, people? His Thyrsus, a fennel stem scepter, sometimes wound with ivory and dripping with honey, is both a beneficent wand and a weapon used to destroy those who oppose his cult and the freedoms he represents. Those who partake of his mysteries are believed to become possessed and empowered by the God himself. Total opposite of what Jesus is. You see how they put this together? Let's continue.
In ancient Greek religion and myth, Dionysus is the god of winemaking, orchards and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. His wine, music, and ecstatic dance free his followers from self-conscious fear and care, and subvert the oppressive restraints of the powerful, aka God. He carries a weapon that he uses to destroy those who oppose his cult and the freedoms he represents. Those who partake of his mysteries are believed to become possessed and empowered by the God himself. So we're just getting started, folks, and I already feel a little chill down my spine. Isn't this getting creepy?
Okay, and I'm going to stop it there. If you guys want to watch the rest, like I said, I'm leaving a link in the description to Cinema Shogun's channel and this video, actually, so you guys can see the rest. Now, I use this because I always watch his channel. I came across this, and I'm trying to put stuff together, and I was like, well, wow. I mean, he's explaining the Dionysus part, the person that's playing the character of Dionysus, because I didn't get it myself. All you hear online is everybody keeps saying, you know, the creepy Smurf, and I'm like, well, this has to mean something. Who is it? And when he brought this up, I was like, okay, so now I get it. They're basically trying to, and this is why I wanted you to see this. And if you go back to what the Olympic statement was, okay, it was the interpretation of the Greek god Dionysus makes us aware of the absurdity of violence between human beings. Or do you mean the absurdity of Christians not liking what's going on with the gay and trans community? So in other words, it's like, well, listen up, people. We're going to show you, we're going to give you our rendition of Christ and the Last Supper, his disciples, but we're going to throw a dig in there. We're going to show you another God, okay, that frees you from all that, okay, and on top of that, like I showed you right here, we're going to sprinkle on it how, let me just go, so bear with me, people, okay, how we're going to throw a child into the mix. Okay? There is no way anybody can tell me that this whole Olympic thing was put together by an artist who wasn't thinking and just saying, well, we're just doing this to make everybody inclusive. Because if anybody watched the opening ceremony to the Olympics, I mean, it's all over Facebook, it's everywhere. it is nothing but dark and demonic. I mean, they even doing a play about Marie Antoinette with her head cut off, and then some metal band playing in the background. I mean, it's just dark. Okay, it's dark and it's sinister. And what really, really kills me is that they're actually trying to backtrack on this and saying that we didn't know we were going to offend so many people. Not only do I call bullshit on that, you knew what the hell you were doing, because one, you're trying to get more and more people away from Christianity. You're mocking God and Christianity. And the most important thing is that if anybody has watched the Olympics, okay, ever in their life, what's one of the things that are there the most? Oh, I shouldn't say the most, but what's a sure thing that's going to be there the most? Well, I said it again. All right. What I'm trying to say is that children will be there. Kids. So what better way to indoctrinate children than to put a child in the middle of something blasphemous, okay, and then make it seem like, oh, this was just art. I'm going to show you guys something real quick. Here we go. In case anybody's wondering, if any of you grown-ups out there that watch this, any of you people on the left, adults, teachers, parents, who think that, you know what, me exposing my child to this, or my children to this is okay, or exposing other children to this is okay, you don't have the right to say anything. I just want to give you this little bit of information before I continue the video. Okay, in Deuteronomy 18:10, it says, it is explicitly forbidden for anyone among God's people to engage in practice such as sorcery, divination, or witchcraft. Specifically, in states, let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire. Okay, now some people will say, well, what he was trying to say was that nobody should take their children and sacrifice them to gods or anything like that. Okay, and that may be true, but okay, it also says divination or sorcery, interprets omens, or engages in witchcraft. These prohibitions were given to guide the Israelites as they prepared to enter a pagan culture. The emphasis was on avoiding practices that were common in that context. As parents, it's essential to teach our children about God's commandments and protect them from harmful influences. Okay? So no matter which way you try to turn this around and say, well, that was at a time where, you know what, God didn't want people to sacrifice their children in the fire, meaning like really killing them, sacrificing them. If you look at the whole thing, it's about just even planting a seed in that child's head is forbidden. Okay? But again, people will say, well, that was only when he says for his people, meaning people that believed in him. If you really think about it, and I'm not a biblical scholar, nothing like that, if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to say, God forgive me. If anybody could leave it in the comments, whatever, if I'm wrong. But the way I see it, 90% of Jews still don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah. So this is still ongoing. Meaning that you should not do this. Okay? You should not be engaging your children in all this sexuality, in pagan rituals. What they did was blasphemous at the Olympics. Okay? And then to go and use a figure like Dionysus, which is what? A pagan god. Okay? But it gets better. Well, I hate when I say that. Not that it gets better. There's more to come. It gets worse. But let's continue. NBC puts this out. Paris Olympics kicks off with lavish boat parade, musical performances. Okay, the opening ceremony featured a series of high-energy song and dance acts, including a cabaret medley from Lady Gaga, wow, who would have seen that coming, and a tribute to Les Miserables. Okay, let's just listen to this. And it's funny that with the backlash, that they're going to go and they're totally going to skip one of their performances, what had happened. Here we go.
On a rainy night in Paris, the first ever floating opening ceremony featured a zip line to Notre Dame, a light show at the Eiffel Tower,
Bonsoir,
and performances by Lady Gaga and Celine Dion, returning to the stage after battling serious health issues. Leading Team USA's boat through a downpour and down the Seine, flag bearers LeBron James and Coco Gauff. The atmosphere on board electric, if a little wet.
We're out here in Paris getting ready to go on our tour of the world.
Sprinter Noah Lyles sharing an inside look on social media. People gathering to watch on balconies and at parties. NBC News' Keir Simmons was along the route.
In the pouring rain, all Team USA under the Eiffel Tower. There's so many of them.
While an estimated 300,000 spectators in 124 grandstands lined the Seine, some 45,000 police officers on hand. But today, Paris' security apparatus tested. Just hours before the opening ceremony, a massive coordinated attack targeting France's high-speed railways. French officials say it was an act of sabotage. Fiber optic cables at 3 locations were set on fire.
This is one of the main reasons why the French are calling this a massive attack. Look at all these people sitting here waiting for hours. They're looking up at the boards at trains that are not taking off, and the frustration is building.
And it's quite paralyzed.
We're dependent on our train system.
2 senior law enforcement officials tell NBC News early intelligence indicates far leftist groups may be behind the attack. Repairs are now underway. Officials say travel for up to 800,000 people could be impacted through the weekend. But then...
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Now, it's funny how Paris says that far leftist groups try to sabotage the train system or whatever the case is. That and a couple other things I'm going to show you, I found very ironic. I'm like, far leftist groups. So then, who was the ones that put on that show of the Last Supper? I mean, isn't it the left that's doing certain things? It's kind of weird. If you ask me, I think Paris and Francis are ass backwards. Okay, not saying that it was far right groups that did it, but they're saying that far leftist groups try to sabotage the train system, but yet you had nothing but leftists putting the Olympic shows together. Okay, Celine Dion, Lady Gaga, whoever put all that art together, it's like, what am I missing here? What exactly am I missing here? None of this makes sense. But we'll leave this part alone as far as what they're saying that was sabotage or whatever they want to call it. Okay. So you've seen that they said nothing about the Last Supper play, for whatever you want to call it. Okay, they just said everything else, everybody else that played, and they showed Americans and stuff like that. So I, again, started digging a little deeper. Excuse me, and come to find out that Paris, whoever's in charge, the Olympics, were giving copyright strikes to some channels because they didn't want the backlash, so they didn't want them showing that particular part of the Olympics because it's copyright protected. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. How can any of the Olympics be copyright protected if you are representing countries from all over the world? People with different ideas, people with different beliefs, man and woman, all kinds of things going on. Okay? So like I said, I'm thinking that it's a dig towards America and Christians, what they did. Because there's also a video circulating, and I'm going to try to find it. I've seen some of it. I just didn't have time to like pinpoint it. Well, I should say get some good clips. Was of the Statue of Liberty. Okay, in one of these performances, that it looked like it was under attack. Now, I don't know if whoever put that together was trying to say that maybe America's under attack, or saying that liberty in America is under attack. Liberty AI meaning only for the gay community. So they're saying that, you know what, since they think that Christians are the ones attacking the transgender community in America, their liberty is under attack in America. Okay? So, and being that it's from Christians, we're going to throw a dig at the Last Supper. I'm just thinking way out the box here. Okay? Way out the box. And there's something that I came across that makes me believe that's exactly what it was. Okay? But, so they're trying to, how can I say, they're trying to apologize for all the backlash that came with this. And I'm going to show you the clip, and it's just ironic that it's like, to even hear what these people are saying. Okay, that there's no way in this world you're going to tell me that the French, whoever was in charge of this, whoever put this together, the Olympics, that they're not in cahoots with the powers that be, and this is exactly what their message was, and that is to attack God, Christianity, and America, in my opinion. Here we go.
To the gender parity subject, one is not, so I think
and clearly there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. On the contrary, I think that Majoli really tried to really intend to celebrate community tolerance. That was his word yesterday, and looking at the result of the polls that we shared, we believe that this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we are of course really sorry.
It was a ceremony like no other, and those are games like no other. I think that our hosts, it's easy for me to say, and we should all be grateful and thankful, they have put together a vision for these games, which is unprecedented. It's an incredible vision for games. We're trying to showcase that in the best possible way.
Mais notre intention n'a jamais été d'être impertinent ou d'être subversif, comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure. Notre idée, c'est simplement que oui, dans cette grande diversité, il y a besoin d'être conjointement. Nous avons en tout cas voulu nous conjointement inclure tout le monde. Voilà. En France, la création artistique est libre. C'est le premier article de la.
Okay. You heard so far what she said, what he's saying. I mean, I'm sure you guys can read the subtitles. It says, in France, we have freedom of artistic creation. That's the first article. Okay?
En France, la création artistique est libre. C'est le premier article de la loi sur la liberté de création.
In the law of freedom of creation.
J'en profite comme d'autres.
I take advantage of it, like with other freedoms, I guess you meant to say, we have in France.
Notre liberté en France, dans ce pays, on a la chance de ça. Il n'y avait pas de volonté pour moi de passer des.
He says, in this country, we're lucky about that.
De messages plus.
There was no desire to give a more specific message.
Simplement des messages
It was simply a Republican
message.
In France, we're allowed to love who we want, how we want.
Comme on veut, avec qui on veut. En France, on a le droit de croire ou de ne pas croire. En France, on a le droit de
rights. In France, we have a lot of rights. Okay, let's go.
Et c'était l'idée de faire transposer.
And I wanted to convey those values throughout the ceremony.
Transparaître ces valeurs-là à travers la cérémonie.
So we made it very clear from the IOC an operational mistake was made. We can only apologise in an evening of so many moving parts that mistake was made, and we apologise to people from the Republic of Korea for that error.
You know what?
Okay. Now he's saying that it was a mistake. Okay. Now the next couple of seconds is just people, talking about how they thought it was disgusting and all that. It should have never happened. So, before I end the video, I'm going to put my thoughts right now. I'm going to show you one more thing what I'm calling bullshit to France, the Olympics, everybody involved. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And I'll tell you why. He's saying that in France they have these freedoms, that, when they were putting this together, they didn't mean to offend anybody. Okay, you know how long these things take. Okay, that's why they put the bid in years earlier, so they can get everything together. The construction of where they're going to build it, all the acts, all the art, all the displays, everything. It takes years to do it. Years to do it. Okay? You're talking tons and tons of people putting their mindsets together, saying that this is going to work, this isn't going to work, we got to do this, we might have to scrap that, we might have to start all over again. That's just the way it is. And then to come out and say all this, you mean to tell me that not at one point, that not one person came out and said, you know what? A lot of athletes worldwide believe in God. Maybe we should not do this. And then maybe other people came out and said, well, it's freedom. They'll understand. That may be the case. I don't know. I'm just saying. But I'll stand behind the fact that I don't believe for a hot minute that thought did not cross anybody's mind. Saying that, you know what, we shouldn't do this. But they proceeded to do it. And you know why I call bullshit? That they didn't care? Since they talk so much about freedom, but they didn't care? I'll show you right now. Okay, now you heard everybody saying their part, how they felt. It's all about freedom. They didn't mean to take a dig at anybody. They respect, free expression. France is a, free republic, this and that, yada, 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 right? And you heard what I said about that. I don't believe for a hot minute that they did not think about that people were going to get offended. And in my opinion, they did, and they didn't care. They did what they wanted to do. And it was to attack Christianity. Because I came across this article that only Fox News has put out, okay, which I found to be very ironic, that the people in charge in the Olympics would take offense, but didn't think that billions of people on the planet would take offense. And I came across this article, and it's only a 2-minute read. Paris Olympics broadcaster removed from coverage over remark about Australian women's swim team. Over the swim team, one guy made a comment about the Australian women's swim team, and the people in charge of the Olympics, all these assholes in charge, found that to be so offensive that they immediately got rid of him. But years of planning to put this bullshit together, they didn't see nothing wrong with it. Check this out. A European Olympics broadcaster's comment about the Australian women's swimming team on Saturday cost him his spot in Paris. Bob Ballard, who was covering the Paris Summer Games for Eurosport, talked about what women are like in reference to the Australian team after they won the 4x100 meter lifestyle. Okay? This is what he said, people. This is what he said. Well, the women are just finishing up. You know what women are like, hanging around doing their makeup, Ballard said, per the New York Post. And because he said that, they found that shit offensive enough to kick him off from broadcasting. But the ones that put that blasphemy together, that was artistic art, that was expression. No, we didn't try to offend 2.8 billion people on the planet. We're not trying to indoctrinate your kids. We don't find none of that offensive until they get called out on it. Then, oh, I'm sorry. But a guy makes a joke about the women's team, about what they're going to be doing, which is doing their makeup, knowing very well, okay, that they're the swimming team, i.e. a joke of them coming out the water and then doing their makeup. But no, that's enough for them to say, fuck you, you're a misogynist, you're a womanizer, you're sexist, get the hell off the TV. But we're going to let all these other drag queens, okay, these sick bastards, go and mock God, mock Christians, okay, indoctrinate children, and that's okay. It cost us millions of dollars. It took us a few years to put it together, but we're sure as shit going to stick it in everybody's face around the world. Because we didn't think anybody, we didn't mean to offend anybody. I tell you people, if you do not dig, okay, deeper than what these people are pulling out, you'll miss it. You'll get some of it. Some people will get most of it. Some people will get some of it. Some will miss it. But unless you dig, you're going to just miss the whole thing entirely. France knew. Paris knew. The Olympic officials knew what the hell they were doing when they were putting this together. Just by them kicking this broadcaster off for a joke, okay, tells you everything you have to know. They didn't care who they were going to offend. They wanted to offend. They want to indoctrinate. They want God and Jesus out the equation. They want to implement their transgender, their paganistic ideology, their Baphomet God that they want people to worship. All the transgender men that are going after women's sports, okay, all that nonsense. They want this. They want this. They want this wickedness. They want this evilness. They just don't want anybody to catch on. And if they do, a simple I'm sorry is fine. But don't you dare make a joke about women on a swimming team coming out and then redoing their makeup. Oh, you can't do that. That's just wrong. We, ha ha, ho ho. You people are sick. You people are sick and diabolical. Okay? You think that everything is everything? You think that by pushing your agenda that you're helping people, especially the kids? You're demented. Okay? And you're wicked and you're evil. Plain and simple. Anyway, that's what I got for you. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, pass the channel around. And if you can help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and my merch store, TrueOutlawPatriot.com. Tell me what you think, people. Leave your comments. Okay? And I'm going to say it again. I'm not trying to attack people that are gay. Okay? Just like I'm not trying to attack any race, any religion. I am pointing out the evil hypocrisy, the evil double standard, the indoctrination, okay, that is within these organizations. Okay, because there's a lot of gay people that have been speaking out about this, saying that they did not like this one bit, that they thought it was totally wrong. Okay? I have yet to see anybody in the Muslim community say anything, but at the same time, we already know how a lot of people stand on that, so that's a whole other story we got to get into. But I would like to know, if they weren't trying to offend anyone, why did they pick the Last Supper? Why didn't they pick, like, I don't know, what is it, when Muhammad ascended to Mecca or whatever it is? You know, why didn't they pick that? Oh, okay. I guess it's because the same reason why, but I'm going to stay away from that one. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. So remember, people, stay vigilant, keep praying, Keep praying for each other. Keep praying for the children in this country. Keep praying for your enemies. And pray for Donald Trump. Peace.